for you.
We'll use that as a slot machine.
Welcome home. This is the Residency Podcast. I am Jeff Tomasic with Drew Belcher and Lo Raven, bringing you the biggest guests and stories in entertainment, business, pop culture, and sports from our studio on the Las Vegas Strip inside Mandalay Bay. Make sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You know the drill. We're back today. Absolute legend with us. This one's going to be fun. Entrepreneur, author, and one of the biggest entertainment personalities ever. Host of Bar Rescue, Jon Taffer. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Gentlemen, good to be here.
There we go. There it is. We might get yelled at, you know.
Lucy, I'm starting loose. Okay.
There it is.
Yeah, for sure. It's
He's
great.
in it. Well, we were going to start it different, but now you brought us some gifts here.
Yeah, look at
And
this.
I feel like the only way to start out this podcast is with a cocktail or with a drink. So can you tell us a little bit about Taffer's Brown Butter Bourbon?
Sure, man. This is actually a cool story. About 2.5 years ago, I'm in my restaurant in Atlanta.
Okay.
And, you know, I've done 240 episodes of Bar Rescue now. It's a lot of episodes, 12 years. And every episode has 5 cocktails in it. So we got to create 5 new cocktails. I mean, how many freaking old fashions can you do? So we got to create new stuff all the time. And I have great mixologists who help around me and stuff. So I took a plastic bag that you do sous vide cooking in.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Boiling
Yeah.
water.
The bath.
I filled it with whiskey, topped it with brown butter out of a frying pan, sealed it, put it in water at 150 degrees, left it in there for about 4 hours. Came back out, put it in a walk-in refrigerator. The butter coagulated on top.
Yep.
Skimmed it off, poured it through a coffee filter,
Yep.
and created a drink called the Campfire. Well, we sell 1,000 campfires a month in this restaurant. People drive for these cocktails. It's the greatest whiskey I've ever tasted. So I realized I got to bring this to market. I've stumbled on something that nobody else has ever done. It's freaking delicious. So we created it, we put it together, and we're launching it literally right now in Las Vegas and in Boston. And then we go national from those 2 markets.
Let's go.
And I'm excited for you guys to try it.
Yeah, I gotta try it for sure.
So I'll open this one.
Wait, so you put butter in the bourbon?
So it's brown butter flavored. So what we did is when we did that originally, we go bad in 14 days because it had dairy in it.
Got it.
Right.
So we then went to professional flavor houses and we mimicked and created the flavor using natural ingredients. So here it is. And this is Taffer's brown butter. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have you smell it.
Okay. We gotta do this the right way, guys.
This guy sous vide alcohol.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This guy sous vide alcohol. I got some. I got this.
You guys got it, okay?
Yeah.
Food scientist
All right.
Jon Taffer.
All right, give a little nose to this.
All right.
It's like
Smells like buttery. Buttery.
Yeah, it's a little sweet.
Now it smells a little sweet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now go ahead and give it a taste.
It's sweet up top, but then there's a punch.
That's good.
wow. That's
Yeah.
80 proof too.
80 proof. A lot of the other flavored ones are 70. So the 80 proof makes it more mixable.
Okay,
Very,
got
very
it.
like
Holds up well.
toffee. Very like
Yeah.
very like
Toffee like vanilla like?
yeah.
It's got a really good aftertaste.
Yeah. I would love this with coffee,
Oh, it's amazing with
right?
coffee.
That would
Yeah.
be delicious.
We make espresso martinis out of them.
Ooh, I like
They're
that.
really
Yeah.
delicious.
Okay.
But probably our favorite cocktail out of it is a gold fashioned, which is
Gold
a brown butter old fashioned. Pretty amazing.
Gold fashion. Okay, I love that, man. Wow.
What do you think, guys?
This is really
amazing.
good. I'm
So
a fan
wait,
of this.
Where can people buy it now in Vegas?
Oh yeah, it's in any liquor world, any wine. What is it?
Total Wine.
Total
Any-
Wine.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Any
Yeah.
liquor world, any Total Wine,
Got
any
it.
Lee's liquor store.
Okay, so they're everywhere.
It's all over town.
Sick.
That's
I'm really
awesome.
proud of it, guys.
Yeah, this is really good. I feel like the flavored whiskeys and flavored bourbons really made like a huge splash on the scene. I mean, you have the peanut butter ones, you have
Yep.
banana ones. This one's really, really good.
Thanks.
So
Thanks.
was this like something you always wanted to do, or this just happened and then you said this is the move?
Not the amazing thing about it. You never know, guys. I mean, I
Right.
started doing this just for a cocktail.
Yeah.
And then it got such a reaction that you say, wow, okay, I'm going to take it to the next level. And doing this is not easy, guys. I mean, you got to get the flavors right.
Sure.
You got to find the whiskey, source the whiskey.
Sure.
Yep.
You got to have the right bourbon in there to do it, right, with the right profile. Then you got to get the glass. Try doing that today. Right, so you need the bottles. Then you got to get the labels and the brand and all the registration and all the compliance. Then you got to get a bottling house to make it for you. Then you got to have a warehouse ship it and wear all under liquor regulations.
I mean, so
Then
what do
you
you mean?
got-
It's hard to get a bottle?
It's really hard
In
to get
these
wrong
days,
now.
yes, as a producer of product, getting glass is not easy.
Really?
Yeah, glass is a production issue today. And many companies can produce the product, but they can't get the glass quick enough. Now, it's getting better. A lot of the reason why is most of the glass in bottles that we use in America was produced in China.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So during pandemic, obviously we lost China production.
Sure.
Right, because they shut down and all that. So a lot of glass manufacturing companies started opening in Mexico as an alternative.
Got it.
And there are some others scattered around the world. So Mexico has really picked up the slack, producing a lot of the bottles that we have today.
Interesting.
But it's interesting how these little things really affect every industry.
Sure.
Getting these products now. And
I know that one for sure. 100%.
I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah, I love
that's
the
rad.
bottle. I love the label. How much impact does that have going into creating a liquor brand with like the bottle design, the logo, the feel?
Yeah. You know, if you're invisible, then you're meaningless.
Wow. Okay.
So
yeah.
I take it, I put it on the back bar, step back 10 feet. Do I see that label next to the other bottles next to it?
Sure.
Got it.
Same thing in a liquor store. You want to put it on the shelf next to the products that are going to be next to you. Step back and take a look at it.
Yep.
Right, and make sure it stands out. It has an identity on the shelf. So even a label color, in this case, it's white with the gold blotches on it, has a real visibility to it.
Sure.
When you look back, and then we actually have 8 different labels. The gold blotches are different on each label, so it's sort of fun.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
That's
Little
cool.
hidden innuendos. I
It
love
feels
that.
really authentic, right? Like feels like it looks like a whiskey, feels like a whiskey. It feels like doesn't. It feels like very approachable.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very
Thanks.
approachable.
Yeah.
Super
it's funny,
cool.
Most people start with an idea and then back into a product.
Yeah.
We had a product and then we backed into manufacturing.
Which is the smartest way
Yeah.
to do business.
It is
right?
actually
Exactly.
because the customers told me how they felt before
Right.
we even
For
started.
sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love this stuff, John. So
Yeah.
It made it a lot easier to do,
Yes,
less
selling a-
scary, if you will.
There we go. Yeah.
Selling 1,000 cocktails is a proof of the concept.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna make my own whiskey, buy my own whiskey for all my restaurants.
Yeah,
there
for
we go.
sure.
That's also a way. It's a way to do it. By the way, there's also so many celebrities and personalities who slap their names on liquor
products.
companies
Yeah.
that have no differences in anything else in the market. They have no real passion for. They haven't tested it out. Obviously, this is the exact opposite. Did you feel that when you were launching it? Did you have to like when people were asking you about that?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I didn't want to put Taffer's name on it.
Okay.
I want it to be another name, just a totally non-celebrity, non-person's name.
Right.
And when my partners or my people went, they did market research. They hired an agency who came back and said, listen, we polled people who know who you are. We polled people who don't know who you are. Both like the name Taffer's.
Sure.
More than the other kind of names that we had. So we named it Taffer. I did not want it to be a celebrity product.
Got it.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted it to stand on its own. It's delicious.
Taffer's a good
And if
last
it-
name though.
If
It
it
could
was
be
Ace
anything.
whiskey,
Yeah.
it should succeed.
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you'll notice my picture's not on anything. My picture's not on any of the marketing. I'm not marketing it like other celebrities. But you're right. Other celebrities, somebody goes up to them and says, I'll license you a deal.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they take a deal. They're not in the whiskey business. They have
Yeah.
no passion for it. And a lot of them fail for that reason.
A lot.
And I used to run a nightclub and bar convention here in town. So we used to launch a lot of those products for a lot of those guys. Like I remember Timberlake with 901 tequila.
That was a
You
tough
never
So
heard
many.
of that one, right?
There were
That
so
came
many.
right?
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of those. So put a celebrity's name on.
Even the
it'll
biggest
succeed.
ones, right? Like
Yeah.
when Drake had his whiskey,
Oh,
Virginia
yeah.
Black.
Yep.
It's you need like a product market fit, and you need a real dynamic that makes a lot of sense.
And the product's got to stand on its own.
Yeah, 100%.
sure.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
On on your newest venture to add to your 25,000 other ones you have. going on.
And to you guys, because this has turned into a nice podcast. for
Thank
guys.
you.
It is.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Something we never thought it would be.
You built a nice
Absolutely.
audience. So
It's a lot
congratulations.
better when we get to start it with some alcohol. This might be tradition. You know what I mean? This is how you grease the wheels of
Yeah.
the of
Signs
the
of a good
episode.
show.
Yeah, 100%.
So if we leave a few bottles behind, then I'm guessing your ratings will go higher.
100%.
Always.
Absolutely.
Always.
Works that way. Always works that way.
And if they don't, we can blame it on the booze. And if they do, we can blame it on the booze.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
way, it's a win. All right, let's Vegas questions real quick.
Yeah.
Since this is a Vegas show, you live in Vegas, which
do.
I don't know if a lot of people know. You live in Las Vegas for a
Yeah.
long time. Can you tell us your all-time best Vegas story? Or one of them at least.
You know, probably my best Vegas story is the one that's the most relevant in my life.
All right.
It's not a drunk story. It's not a crazy Vegas
That's
story, one
fair.
of those. I was giving a speech at a convention here in Vegas, and somebody comes up to me afterwards and says, hey, man, you should be on TV. So I went back to my hotel room that night, and I wrote up this thing called On the Rocks. And it was a cross between Kitchen Nightmares and Mission Impossible. And they would drop me into bars, and I would have files, just like the beginning of Mission Impossible, and I'd pull out my experts,
Right.
and then I'd go in and I'd change the world. And I wrote this thing up, and at the time, I was a consultant to Paramount for Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, their restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I consulted, had a relationship. So I wrote this thing up. Do I have to be clean on this podcast?
You can
No,
say
no,
fuck,
no.
you can say
Yeah,
shit, you
yeah,
say
yeah.
whatever you want.
Perfect. So I take this write-up to my friends who run Paramount Television, who I know pretty good, and I go to the big boardroom, and I drive through the big gates, and I sit down, and I show up, and they look at me, and they say, John, you will never fucking be on television. You're not good looking enough. You're too old. It'll never fucking happen. Forget it, man. So I leave Paramount and I say, fuck it. I'm going to do my own sizzle reel. So I created my own sizzle reel. I went to a friend's bar in Hermosa Beach, California. It was empty. The next day it was full because there was a football game. So I went there. It was empty. I screamed at him. I came back. The next day it was full. I was the miracle worker. 3 minutes long. We sent it to 4 production companies in L.A. I got 4 out of 4 offers. I was on TV in less than a year, and that friend of mine in Paramount, back then, I don't know if it exists anymore, there was a company that would sell you a dozen black roses in a coffin-shaped box.
Okay, cool.
And that's what I said to my friend.
go.
in Paramount when the show was
Yes.
picked up.
I love that.
And then, of course, the real end of the story is, what network am I on now?
Paramount.
Yeah.
So
Full circle. Full
everything
circle.
took complete full circle. But had that person not come up to me in Caesars that day in Vegas and said to me, "You should be on TV, man," none of this wouldn't have happened. So it's amazing what can happen, and then of course there's many more stories, years of running the conventions and stuff here in town.
That's crazy. That's really how
That's
that
the story
started.
that started it all?
That's the story that started Bar
Holy
Rescue.
shit.
And Paramount eventually got you for 100 times the price.
And then, they pay me a lot more now
That's
than
what
they
I'm
did
saying.
then.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, and now 240 episodes, about $980 million in revenue.
It's awesome.
And so there's a lesson in that, man. Nobody can say no to you but you.
Yo,
That's very true.
That's great.
Right.
And also
Love that.
listen to
Had I
strangers.
listened to them, I wouldn't be here.
for sure.
I mean, I feel like I'm not getting any good advice from people walking on the street. I really need to try harder and get this going.
Buddy Hackett used to tell, the comedian Buddy Hackett?
yeah.
He was a good friend of mine. He used to tell a joke that he'd be sitting at the blackjack table, and he's down 20 grand, and the guy sitting next to him says, "If you don't double down on 16, and he's listening to this guy. About an hour later, he realizes the guy has no fucking teeth. The guy's got holes in his sweater. He's telling me how to gamble.
Yeah, you listen to the guy.
Take
who
your
does
own
that.
advice, pal. Go ahead. Get on the table.
Double it.
Yeah,
Oh
for sure.
my God. Well, by the way, there's a lot of those here in Vegas, so I wouldn't listen to
100%.
that one. But if someone's going to tell you to be on TV,
There should be a bit
Follow through.
of the pseudo Vegas expert.
Sure.
For example, you're flying on an airplane, you're on your way home, coming home here, and the guy behind you is saying, "Oh yeah, we like to stay in Mandalay Bay. It's right next door to Wynn, so we get to walk between the two." Now, they're nowhere near each other.
Not even close.
I mean, he's like, so I love it. He's like the expert, and he's, "Oh no," and then we go up to the top floor of and we do everything the guy is saying is wrong, and you really want to turn around and burst his.
Sure.
But he is the pseudo Vegas expert.
The expert.
That's a thing.
been driving around here for 20 years. I know it all. Tell you it all.
For sure.
Yeah, we've heard it. I love that. All right, you've got a lot of business under your belt. Obviously, Bar Rescue, one of them, Liquor, one of them, many more. You've started a lot of successful ones, but can you tell us about a business that maybe you did in the very beginning that just didn't work out?
Yeah, sometimes things change. When I first started in this business, I had the only patent ever issued for music management in a hospitality property. And I'm a fucking nutcase, guys. I paid a bunch of DJs to take 57,000 songs, put them in keys, energy levels, beats per minute, and then categories of instrumentation, smooth, rough, guitar, blah, blah, blah. And then from these categories of songs, I could create a grid where you would play this color into that color into this and all that. And I could take a 20-year-old DJ and make him an expert in 50s music in a matter of seconds, 60s music, classic rock, etc. And I called it Music Plan. And the concept of the company, this is years ago, guys, when I first started. The concept of the company was you got a marketing plan, you got a business plan, you need a music plan. So that was the premise of the company, right? Because what you play is what you get in today's world. So we created this company, and it became very big. And we had all the major hotel clients, and we're shipping updates and books and materials, and we're managing all this music for all these venues. And then Apple introduces digital music,
Motherfuckers.
where the computer does everything for you, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
But that one was successful for about 2.5 years, and then that one went down. Technology sort of left us behind. But I've been fortunate, guys. I haven't had that many failures.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't
Yeah.
call that a failure.
Yeah.
It's still successful
in
for
the
2
end,
years.
it didn't make it very long.
Sure.
Right.
But it was a cool idea.
A
at
great
its
idea,
time.
by the
Yeah,
way.
At its time. Yeah.
I mean, plus, like, you really have stayed in like a very single niche, in the F&B hospitality space for a
Yeah.
long time. So every single business partnership you've had has probably lend itself to a helping hand to the next one down the road, and so on. So connections.
Well, you know what happens when you're in the same business for the amount of years that I are?
Yeah.
All your friends are now presidents of companies. We all are.
Sure.
All my buddies who I grew up with in this industry, we're now running the damn industry.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to do deals with each other and communicate with each other. And that's the fun thing that happens in life. If you stay in the same business, in 20 years, you and your peers own that business.
Yeah.
It's very
So,
true.
when you jump around, you don't get that benefit 20 years later.
No,
That's
for
very
sure.
true.
And the same as in media,
Sure.
right, guys? You look at the media industries, there's a bunch of people in a real circle that tend to control 70, 80% of it.
Nightlife in this city.
That's with everything too. It's like the cool kids club. As you start
100%.
growing and aging, it's the same.
Yeah.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
And when your buddies become that cool kids club,
Yeah,
that's
you're good
pretty
for
cool.
I
life.
just want to be in the club,
Absolutely.
dude. That's all.
you're in the circle, bro.
I'm in the circle. I'm in the circle.
You're good for life.
I love it.
That's what it is, though. Really, you have to you trial by fire each time, and then you do that with people, and there's nothing more like that creates a bond than that when you're going through the ups and downs yourself. And once you get there, right, it's quick text, quick call, yeah, no problem. I'd rather you than anyone else.
And the trick is authenticity.
Yeah.
If you're really true to yourself, then you're not full of shit, for one.
Sure.
And you're consistent. You're the same guy 4 years from now that you were 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's important to build those kind of relationships.
It's true in so many sectors, but Vegas of all cities is probably the truest in this
100%.
city. And
Yeah. Sunday Ticket happened through relationships. When the Sunday Ticket deal happened, I was running my consulting company. We were based in Chicago, and a company called ComSat, who manages satellites in space for U.S. government,
Right.
who did pay-per-view movies and hotels and stuff. They called me up, this is the mid-'90s, and says, John, I had won Sports Bar Operator of the Year, and I had a consulting company. They said, John, we'd like you to do an analysis for out-of-market sports programming. So a guy in Miami could buy the Dallas signal, or a guy in New York could buy the Commander signal, whatever it might be. Could you do a feasibility study for us on what the bar industry would pay for such a thing? So we did. They paid me a lot of money, and we wrote a thick feasibility study on how this could work, that people would buy this and do this. And then they said, wow, this is really good. Now tell us what the product would look like. So they came back a second time, second contract, second big check, and we started designing what the product looked like. As we were doing that, compression happened. And compression allowed you to get multiple signals on the same transponder of a satellite dish. Before that, when I had my sports bars, I had 8 of those big analog dishes behind the bar. Took up a quarter acre of land. To get 8 games, I had 8 of these huge fucking analog dishes. Remember those days,
Yes,
guys?
the giant ones.
Well,
That's
now
what that
those
was.
are gone, and I
Yeah.
got 1 dish on my roof, right? That's 1/3 the size. Big fucking deal.
Yeah.
So compression happened while we were writing that, and then we put together the model of a bar having 1 dish, getting up to 8 games. Back then it was 7 games simultaneously, and the whole football, and add slicks on the window, and we designed the whole thing. So then they come back to us a third time and say, this is really cool. Who could we sell it to? So then we write a list of all the restaurant chains and all the people that would do it. Now they have our 3 pieces of work. They paid us a lot of money for it. And they go to the NFL to get the license to do this. NFL says, man, this is fucking great. Let's do it ourselves. And they put me on the board of NFL Enterprises, and we rolled out Sunday Ticket. That's how it happened.
What a fucking idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, especially as a sports bar. It's like you need to have every single one of those games on, just the consumer market in each city. Maybe they want to see the Jacksonville game. Maybe they want to see a Kansas City game.
But
you need to have all of them.
But back
In
then
the
it
original
didn't exist.
model, you got the local coaches show
Sure.
and the local game.
Yeah.
Until we got the transponders thing straightened out.
And the funny part about technology is the fact that you built this and then eventually ended up on an internet streaming service this coming year. Like, think about how far the tech has come from when you first talked about the 8 satellites behind a restaurant to it now not even being on television anymore. It really coming from an internet streaming platform
sure.
now.
And I'll tell you what the next step of it's going to be. You're going to be able to watch that game, and in the bottom right corner of your screen, you're going to be able to do real-time betting.
Yeah.
And I'm going out years from now. But I think it's going to get to the point that I can actually be watching a game and saying, I bet $100 on the fact that the next pitch is going to be a curveball.
Yep.
I think that betting is going to happen in little bites.
That fast.
It's not going to be just whether you win or lose the game.
Yeah,
And it's
live
not going to
betting.
be just by spreads. It's going to really talk into, can you predict the next play?
Sure,
Is it a
sure.
pass? Is it a scramble? What are they doing in the next?
Yeah.
And I think that that's where betting volume is going to go in the next phase. And in order for that to happen, and by the way, I've never heard anybody else say this, including people in gaming, articulating it like I am. But I believe that's what's going to happen. And in order for that to happen, you have to be watching it live at the time.
Sure.
Exactly.
Right? And then there has to be an inherent break in the game, allowing people 10 seconds, 30 seconds to get that next
get that
play.
bet in.
done.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're going to go as an industry. And that goes back to a product from years ago called QB7 that was in bars 20 years ago. We had a little handheld player, and you would predict the next play in a football game.
Oh, wow.
Pass wide left, do this.
Yeah.
And you got points. And you played against other bars around the country, and the bars that could predict the plays of the games would win T-shirts and prizes and stuff like that.
Once the league's bought
That's where
into
betting needs to go. But how do you do that? There's a timing factor. When does the bet come in? How is the bet paid? Right? And so it's an interesting factor. But if the betting community can go from betting on a game to betting to all aspects within that game, that changes the entire industry. And then programming and betting has to come together to be at one source.
Exactly. Do you think that changes?
I'm looking ahead 10 years. That's where I think we're going to go.
So like if you watch a live football game now, right? There are commercial breaks built in specifically for that presentation purpose. Do you think
right
that
online
changes?
through your TV, in theory, as you're watching it at home, because now you're streaming, so we have two-way connectivity.
Yeah.
In real time, ma'am, I dropped that bet. Come out of that commercial, I might be betting on the next inning.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm betting on the outcome of the next inning. Maybe it starts there and then it gets into place. But
Yeah.
if you think about betting, if I can get a guy who's going to bet once a day on a game win or loss, what happens when I pick apart that game and give him 30 opportunities within that game to bet?
Do like 4 7th-inning stretches.
So I think the industry has to go there.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the logical progression of where it goes. I've never heard somebody in gaming say that. This was always been my vision the past couple of years. But I envision that you're watching a game. One corner is your bets. The other corner is your wins or losses to date. Another corner is a chat box for you to talk with your buddy who you're betting with online, right? And then another one is other games that you have live bets on. And as you're watching this game, you're interacting at that level.
Once
that's
the league-
where I think we go.
once the
Taffer
league-
Tech Industries.
Yeah.
Trademark it
Coming
right
next.
now.
Once
There
the-
it is.
once
And
league's
when
bought
a
into it, it was
Mandalay
over,
Bay,
you know?
when a company like MGM can buy a media company like a Viacom, that's when this happens. That connectivity has to happen. But I think, again, this is just me, guys, and I don't think any gaming person has looked at it this way, but as one who's been involved in it from the programming side for so many years, I believe that's where we're going.
And that's where the absolute mountains of money are, too.
Yeah,
Mountains
for sure.
of money.
Mountains of money. Absolutely.
Mountains of money.
Imagine dropping 30 bets during a game.
And when all the states have actually legalized it as well, it's only even scratched the surface right now, and they're already making money hand over fist. It's insane.
Yep.
All from your phone.
Yeah.
Just degenerates. The next generation of degenerates everywhere. Sorry to my daughter. She's going to be, Dad, just live betting on Nickelodeon right now. No big deal. All right, can we talk about Bar Rescue real quick?
Sure.
Let's talk about Bar Rescue. Do not prep for this episode. Getting our bearings with everything you've done. Literally the number one question all over the internet. People want to know, how real is Bar Rescue?
All righty, guys. First, I'm going to tell you what happens behind the scenes in a
Sure.
second.
All right.
But on my mother's grave,
Yeah.
on my daughter's life, nothing is scripted. There are no actors. Nothing is set up. It's completely real. In every single way, guys, I swear on my own life. Now, here's what happens in Bar Rescue. I'll give you the scoop. I arrive. First of all, we do it in 4 days.
Okay.
I arrive the first day. I've never met these people before, never been in this bar before. I sit in a makeup chair. They put makeup on me. My producers come in. They give me literally a 60-second briefing. And these guys, Sean and Alan, work with me. Am I being correct? 60-second briefing.
1 minute?
George and Michael own this bar. They're ready to kill each other. They've lost their house. They're about to lose their car. They're in debt $400,000. They're losing $10,000 a month. They're going to make it 2 more months. That's all I know. I then go in and do recon. I don't know what's going to happen during recon. I can tell you a quick story, if you like, of one of my fun recons. We're in Orange County, California. They tell me the story that the husband's not coming home at night and the marriage is falling apart. And so I say, well, let me have the wife. Let me do recon with the wife. So the wife gets in my recon vehicle. I got the little screen in front of me.
Yeah.
She gets in the vehicle. She's got a gift bag in her hand. Her name was Edith. And I say to her, oh, what's the gift bag? She goes, oh, it's my 14th wedding anniversary. I said, oh, so is that for your husband? She goes, yes. I said, oh, nice. What'd you get him? Divorce papers.
Ooh.
That's how it started.
Cool.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
That's how it started.
Wow.
So I get in the SUV, I do my thing. I don't know what's going to happen, guys. You know, I go in, either I get angry. Maybe sometimes it's not anger. Sometimes it's sad. Right?
Sure.
And it's different. At the end of recon, here's what you don't know. At the end of recon, we put everybody in vans in the parking lot. I go in, I design the bar that night. I got about an hour. I look at the verticals, the horizontals. My team gives me a demographic report that I've designed that tells me who's living in the area. I get another document that tells me what bars are in the area. If there's 30 sports bars in 2 blocks, I'm not going to build another sports bar, obviously.
Right.
Yep.
I look at what's in the area. I look at the demographics. I look at the building. I come up with a concept right then and there. So I leave then. That's the end of day 1. Right? All you guys saw was recon, me storm out. The next day we're doing training and stress test. Right? Was what you guys see on TV.
Yep.
Yeah.
What you don't see is I'm designing the bar off camera. I got to pick the bar stools, the wallpapers, the colors. I got to get the logo done. I got to get the recipes and the food orders in, the drink recipes and the drink orders in, the uniforms. Everything has to be finished the second day. And if you look at Bar Rescue really carefully, I'm going to give you a little inside secret. Look around the room next. You'll see the bar stools rarely match. And the reason why is I got to get everything in 24 hours. I can't get 60 of the same bar stools in 24 hours.
Got it.
I can get 12 of these, 6 of those,
Right,
9 of those.
right.
So I'm trying to piece this together, right, and put it all together.
And you're just getting from a local spot, whatever's
and
around
people
you?
who ship it in, but I got to ship it in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I got companies that I can work with and stuff, but they don't know what I need till I call them and say I need it, and I need you to ship it in like 2 hours.
I
I
need
have
it tomorrow, dude.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that whole pressure. So then you can't get this, so that doesn't work anymore. Now you got to change that to what you can get. By the end of the second day, you see training and stress test.
Yeah.
By the end of the second day, the logo's to the sign company, the recipes are done, and the orders are in for the food and beverage. All the furniture orders are in. All the trades are set up. Everything is done by the second day. When stress test ends, we go to work remodeling right then and there. So everybody goes home as far as the employees and the owners. My crew, then we start ripping it apart at the end of day 2.
Got it.
Day 3, you see on TV, I'm training in another location.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
because we're under construction.
Right.
Yep.
Right? So day 3 is a complete construction day and training. I'm dealing with, changes. We can't get this. That couldn't arrive, John. This is lost in shipping. I'm dealing with all of that bullshit. Right? We don't have enough electricity. The plumbing sucks. The refrigerator. So I'm dealing with all that shit, and I got no time to fix anything.
Yeah.
That's all day 3. Day 4 is the reveal. That afternoon, those same vans pull up. They're all wearing blindfolds when they drive up, and we do the reveal. So I do build it in 36 hours.
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
And we do design it when I'm there. I've never met these people there. So I don't know what's going to happen, guys. Here's why I think Bar Rescue has been on TV for 12 years, 240 episodes. I've met a lot of other reality stars who think their audiences are idiots.
Sure.
And when you think your audience is an idiot, they're gonna see you're full of shit really, really quick.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that.
Yeah.
I think my audience is really smart, so I don't know anything before they do.
Really?
Because, if you're a jerk, I don't know it till I walk in. I
Yeah.
find that out the same time you do.
Okay,
watching the
cool,
show.
cool.
So I'm never ahead of you. That creates an authenticity to the show that I think have kept it lasting.
Sure.
People aren't stupid.
Yeah.
And then owners, I love this. This is why people even ask, is it real or fake?
Yeah.
What happens is you're an owner. You look like a total fucking asshole on the show. So what do you say the next day to the media? Oh, man, they made me look that way. The whole thing is fake. They scripted me that way.
Sure.
Of course you say that because you look like a fucking idiot if you don't. But you were the idiot.
The viewer's like, no one could possibly be that much of an asshole. This can't be a real person.
that's
But it is.
Yeah. 100%.
Also, traveling around the country, you can't just find people who can act that well. I mean,
Sure.
come on. I'm going to find some guy who's going to be able to, when I say cry.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. So it is completely real, guys. And the pressure that I feel when I'm doing it is real. That's why I'm such an asshole. I mean, imagine this. If I'm doing something that would normally take 60 days in 4. I'm a raving fucking maniac.
You don't got time to be nice.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
There's
You don't have
a
time
clock
to be
ticking
nice.
in my head every second, Jeff. So
Yeah.
I'm under this pressure constantly. I don't have time for you to figure it out, man. You got to figure it out right
Yeah,
fucking
right.
now.
Yeah.
So that's this pressure that I'm under. And they're about to lose their house and shit. I'm their last chance.
Yeah.
So I take that really seriously.
Not
you
there to
know?
make friends. You're there to make a difference.
How much pushback do you get from the owners of these establishments to when you go in there and you revamp their entire cocktail menu that they've had for years, you revamp their entire food menu that they've had for years? What kind of pushback do you get from those owners?
A lot. Until you know, but I got to say things to them that you know are very hurtful to them. You know, that cocktail menu that you developed lost you $400,000. You want $420?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got to be really straight with them. I'll tell you what's another thing people don't know that's fascinating. I wear a microphone under my shirt. So do all of them. So at the end of the show, when I get that hug, you can't hear what they say to me because our microphones are covered up. It's unbelievable the shit they say to me. Jon, you changed my life, man. This is the one that really got me. Jon, you're the father I never had. Ooh. Wow, I'm talking to my kids again, Jon. My wife loves me again, Jon. You know, you've given me so that is so powerful when they're crying and they're hugging me and they're squeezing me. It makes me be a bigger asshole next time.
Sure.
Because the fact is,
You gotta go down to go up.
well, they exactly right.
Yeah.
And you know, they realize the second day, okay, he's being tough, but he means well. They're starting to figure me out.
Right.
That I'm not there, you know, to fight with them. I'm there to fight for them.
And you're also so by the way, you pay for the show.
Everything.
Pays for everything, right? The renovations, the new stuff, the new uniforms, the build out,
And we leave them a food and beverage inventory.
Wait, so the owners don't pay for any of the renovations that you guys do?
Nothing. Not a penny.
Not even like
Not a
payments
penny.
or anything? Nothing? Wow.
What do you normally spend on a bar refurbishment? Like
Well, it can depend on size. Some are
Right.
bigger than others, of course.
average, I guess.
Generally speaking, maybe 250 to 400,000 per.
That's
If you look at value, you know what we do. Now I can't put a price because my own people build it and stuff. So
Of course, yeah.
if I were to send it out to be built, yeah. And you know, you look at the
huge
signage
undertaking.
packages, all that stuff's a lot of, you know, really expensive.
In 3
You know,
days.
we did one called Champagnes here, which is really, I love this story. We did this bar, this old mob bar in Vegas.
Sure.
Called Champagnes. It was a famous episode. And we had this old mobster at the bar and stuff. And this place was famous for its wallpaper. And this, so I took the wallpaper and I peeled it up. And I found fall wallpapers back was this unbelievably flower wallpaper from like the 1920s, like pre-prohibition.
Oh.
So we peeled enough back that I could get one of the repetitions of it. We took a photograph of it. I sent it to a special house, and I had the wallpaper completely reproduced.
That's sick.
So when we opened that bar, it had the wallpaper it had 100 years earlier on the walls.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's cool.
That's really cool stuff that we do, and we try to build them when we can.
Sick.
You know, it's fun because we're not just doing a space; we're trying to create a concept.
Sure.
No, for
You know,
sure.
it's fun to do it.
Because it comes to obviously second nature to you and a lot of hospitality people, like cleanliness and service. Do you sometimes still get shocked? I know that your whole business model is based off on bars and bars and restaurants needing rescuing, but are you still shocked when you roll into places and it is actually as bad as it is?
You know, when I did the show, I said to the network, you know, I was lucky. When I signed the show, I already had some money. So I wasn't desperate. So I had to deal with the network that it would be real,
Yeah.
right? And they wouldn't send me to cakewalks.
Yeah.
Sure.
That there would be real people in real trouble. I had no fucking comprehension how bad it could be out there.
I was just saying, it's
It-
shocking.
It,
Yeah, it's
it
good.
blew me away. I mean, it blew me away, guys. So you know, you see somebody. Imagine this: guy's in debt $400,000, and he blew his parents' retirement, and he's living in their basement. He's 45 years old. He has no money for his kids. He, his wife, and his kid are living in his parents' basement. He wiped out their retirement, and he still won't close. He's still losing $30,000 a month. So the depth of failure that I deal with. In the beginning, it was remarkable to me. I mean, guys, in the normal world, we would never come in touch with people with that depth of failure.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they were in that depth of failure, they would never tell you so.
No,
Yeah.
of course not.
Never.
Of course
Yeah.
not.
So it's amazing how people walk into these, I'll call you dark holes, and just never have the inclination to step out. You know,
Do they
it's-
apply for the show? Or-
Oh, sure.
Okay, so
Oh,
they
yeah.
apply for the show.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or somebody in their bar applied.
Sure.
Very often it's not the owner. Very often it's the employee.
Manager or
Who
employees
reaches out
just
to
like,
us, yeah.
this is my only option. I want to stay here. I don't have another job. Come fix this place.
Also, another interesting thing about bar rescues, I'm not going to fight for an asshole.
right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight for somebody who's a jerk.
Yeah.
So I got to find something to fight for when I get there. Sometimes the owner's a jerk, but I picture his wife and kids at home. They're not.
No.
Yeah.
So I fight for them, even though I never met him, because I can't fight for him. He's too much of a jerk.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I fight for the employees who really care,
Need a job.
and the
Need a
owner
job.
doesn't.
Yep.
Sometimes the owner's a great guy in a bad place. I can fight for him.
Yeah.
But when I go there, it isn't fighting with people. It's fighting for something.
Got it.
So when I find what I want to fight for, it becomes very real to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have something, and the viewer needs to root for something as well, right?
Exactly.
They need
Root for that person
Yeah, they need
or
to root for
whoever's-
that person, the wife, the team, whatever it may be.
Okay. What if I told you Bar Rescue is completely Shakespearean? Act 1, person in trouble. Act 2, resists change. Act 3, starts to transform. Act 4, redeems themselves. Act 5, happy ending. It's as Shakespearean as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really is. Yeah.
If they don't have something to transform, there's no show.
Yeah.
If they don't transform, there's no show.
Right, for sure.
It's very Shakespearean in a sense. That's why we watch it, because it's so relatable. We all have been through these things in different ways in our lives.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, moments where we were paralyzed, we couldn't step up, we couldn't defend ourselves, we couldn't this. We've all had moments like this. Just most of us can step out of them. Some can't.
We had talked a little bit about this before. How many times have you went and completely transformed someone's business in leading, transforming their lives, and they go back to the same shit after you leave?
About 30% of the time. Maybe
30%.
30.
That's
So
a lot.
imagine this for a second. I come to your business.
Wait, 3 out of 10. That's a lot.
Imagine this. I come to your business. Now, understand, if you're a mental giant, I probably wouldn't be there in the first place.
Sure.
We'll
Right.
just put that
Yeah.
out
Yeah,
there,
fair.
right? So I come to your business. I put a brand new interior in. I put a brand new sign up, a new concept, a new name. The recipes match the name and the concept and
Yep.
matches the interior, and all the pieces come together. It's great. You're going to be on national television in 10 weeks. Millions of people are going to see the show. Not only that, Bar Rescue repeats 18 times a year. You're going to be on TV 18 times this year in the marathons and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's not a marketing professional in the world that would tell you to do what this guy does. So I leave the next day. He takes down the sign, takes down the concept, puts the old stuff back.
Really?
How do you define that? You know, Ron White says there's no fixing stupid, and I hate to
Right
call
away?
people stupid, but right away.
Wait, the
So-
next day?
Oh, in many cases, the next day, a week later, they take down a beautiful sign that I put up that people are going to come from all around to see, take a picture, and they put up the old sign and they do the old things again. That's why pre-pandemic, when we looked at the show statistically, a newspaper did a study, what percentage of Taffer's bars survive?
Sure.
And they defined survive as making it, I think, 2 years after I left.
Okay.
Fair definition.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was at 68% success factor. And then when we looked at who changed back, about 20 to 30%. So there was a real correlation.
Yeah.
Some people just, guys, have thick heads, you know?
That's crazy.
Or they just have like when you're married to something so much because you put whether it's failing or not, you just can't see that it should be changed because you swear that your idea is still the best.
Or ego.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
I look at something like this. It's got my name on the label. It's completely non-emotional to me. If somebody comes up to me with the right check, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Sure.
This is not my child.
Right.
Right.
I have no connection to any of these businesses. They're all to make me money.
Yeah.
If you want to give me the money now rather than years of me making it, you can have the business right now.
Yeah.
So people get too personal with these things. You know, I say that wall sucks, it's blue. They cry like it's their child.
Right.
The blue fucking wall. Come on, man. It's a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run it like a business. So many times the emotion of it is what takes them down.
Yeah.
They take everything too personally, John. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, it's crazy people have to admit that they're wrong, and that's hard.
That's the fight in bar wrestling.
That's the hard. People have to admit to you and to everyone, their staff, their wives, the
Yeah.
public, but mostly the people there that they're wrong, even though they're in charge, and that it needed fixing.
Yeah.
When I wrote my second book, Don't BS Yourself, Cut the Excuse That Are Holding You Back, that was my New York Times bestseller. That book happened after the 120th episode of Bar Rescue. I'm in Detroit, Michigan. I'm rescuing a bar for a woman that owns this bar. It's right by the Ford plants and right in car country up there. And every owner, I've always looked at them and said, why are you failing? I ask everyone. But it doesn't always make it to the final cut, but I ask everyone. I looked at her and I said, why are you failing? And she looked at me and she said, John, I'm failing because of the euro in Greece. It's in Detroit, Michigan. In other words, complete bullshit. I go back to my hotel that night and I realized, holy shit, 120 episodes. Never once has an owner looked at me and said, I'm failing because of me. Not one fucking time. It was always the president's fault, Congress's fault, the weather's fault, the euro in Greece, this, that. I mean, they never ever blame themselves.
Wow.
And then I took it a step further and I said, holy shit, I found a common denominator failure. It's an excuse.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because if you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and blame your failure on somebody else, you have no reason to fucking change. But if you blame it on yourself, you do have a reason to
Yeah,
change.
you have to.
So these people wake up every day, look in the mirror, and blame their failures on somebody else, and they dig in deeper and deeper. So I wrote the whole book. So my book, Don't BS Yourself, is all about excuses and how they paralyze us. And what is the definition of an excuse? It's a reconciliation of a fuck up.
Sure.
I did something I shouldn't have. I didn't do something I should have. I fucked up, so
Yeah.
I got an excuse.
Yeah.
What if we didn't use excuses? What if we held ourselves accountable all the time?
Yeah.
Right? How would our lives change?
I guess it's not only that, if you actually had to tell yourself that you were wrong and fix it yourself, that's hard. But if you can, all you have to do is look at yourself and admit it, and then someone else is going to help you and do it for you. Come on, that's the best scenario anyone's ever going to get.
Looking at me, okay, I'm fucking this up.
Yeah.
I'm failing.
Yeah,
Screw
okay.
this up.
How do I fix this?
But
I
you're
go
gonna do
find
it.
somebody
Yeah.
to help me fix it.
Because
Right.
normally it's like, okay, I admitted it, I'm wrong, I don't know how to fix it, or I need to fix it, and then you're like, you look to fix it, and you're like, I don't know where to
what I'm
start.
doing.
Now what?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna fall back, you know.
But
Versus
today
like,
with YouTube and everything, there's so much out there, guys.
you
Everything.
still got to sit and watch it and take notes and like put the effort in. At least for you, you're handing them the golden ticket of you just have to admit it a little bit, and then I'll do the rest.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it's
don't
crazy.
turn back.
Like Masterclass blows me away. I was flipping through social media this morning. Ringo Starr just did a masterclass on drumming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think of the people that are out there that can train you today to learn all
Yeah.
of these things.
Do
It's
anything.
it's
Literally
amazing.
anything.
It is. You just got
Also, only for $70.
Masterclass is
Annually.
crazy.
$70 dude.
3 easy payments.
And you're good.
Yeah,
You're in
payment
there.
plan.
You be a drummer. Do you have like a all-time horror story of one restaurant that you went into that was just absurd? Like you can't even believe that it was real?
Well, there's a few actually.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know, there was one in Florida that we went into, and as I was in the kitchen with Nick Lombardi, the chef, the rats were running into our shoes.
No.
And you'd feel them hitting your shoe with the side
That's
of your
disgusting.
shoe. It was,
No.
it was unbelievable. That was pretty disgusting. Probably the walkout, though. We're doing a bar in Council Bluffs, Iowa, the famous walkout. The name of the bar was O-Face. So that should tell you a little something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic, dude.
They're
Yeah.
real assholes, and I'm fighting with these people the whole way. And we go and we watch a security. They have a security thing on disc, so I just drop it in, and then they're not around, and I'm watching the thing, and he, on his own security camera, he slaps one of his employees across the face. So I say, that's it. I'm not rescuing this place. I want nothing to do with this guy.
Yeah. Right.
So I didn't rescue the bar. I walked out, and that was the first ever walkout on Bar Rescue. It was a very famous episode. Then there was another one in Chicago, right across the street from Wrigley Field. It was a cool place. And it was when the Cubs were in the World Series, 3 weeks before the World Series.
Okay, yeah.
So the whole city knows Taffer's there. The whole
Yeah.
city knows Taffer's going to rebuild this bar. This owner, I called him Smilin' Ed, was the biggest fucking asshole in the world. I said during stress test, Ed, stress test is going to last an hour and a half. There's only one thing I want you to do for me. You don't have to touch a glass, a bottle, nothing. Smile one time for me during a stress test, and I'll be a happy guy. He couldn't fucking do it. So I called him Smilin' Ed. He was such a jerk that I had to remodel the bar because the city of Chicago was watching us.
Sure.
But when I finished the bar, I'm standing in front with his employees. We threw him the keys, and I left with all the employees. And he had a beautiful bar with no employees. He was left alone. So that was sort of a walkout.
That's crazy. That's sick.
But I've seen some crazy things. I mean, we walked into a bar in Austin, and there was a guy hanging on a hook with his back bleeding. You know what I mean? An S&M kind of thing going on.
Got it.
And
Okay,
he's
got it.
hanging on his skin from his back. That didn't make the episode, thank God. And you know what? I opened the refrigerator in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You know, sometimes underneath the cooking line, they have those drawers of refrigerators.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we opened a drawer. There's a dead raccoon in it.
Oh.
So refrigerators hadn't run in years. There was another one that we were in.
It's absurd.
It smelled.
It's absurd.
It smelled so bad that the chef and I had to pour powdered garlic on the end of our tongue and breathe through our mouths when we were in the kitchen, and still we could only be in there for about 3 breaths, and then we had to get out. So we've seen some crazy things, but here was one of the best ones, and I won't say where it was, and I'm going to get a little intimate here, if you will. So we're doing an episode, and the episode story basically is the premise that this guy's married, he and his wife work in the bar, and his cocktail waitress is his girlfriend.
Okay.
and he's like a swinger.
Classic story.
Yeah.
He's like a swinger, and supposedly he was a swinger with his wife, but now he's married to this girl. She doesn't want to swing anymore, so he's not doing it anymore. He's telling her he's doing it straight, blah, blah, blah. And she's crying all the time because she thinks he's with her and all that. So I'm beating on him. He's got to be a good husband. Look at his wife. She's over in a corner crying. She's trying to be a good girl. She's trying to this, blah, 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 blah. We're doing this whole thing. 3 days later, same story. I'm sitting in a room and I'm watching a videotape. And it's got the three of them on it. And they're on the table in the kitchen going at it. It was only 2 days earlier.
Oh my God.
So the things you see in my business can be quite exciting or quite disgusting.
Sure.
How you look at it.
I wonder, like, you must get the rundown of, like, here's the cities that I'm going to, and you got to just be one. Is there a city that has just been the most problematic for you?
Well, we actually, I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Or
here.
region.
We actually rate cities on what we call the ass quotient.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times in bar rescue, I'm standing in the sidewalk and there's a camera in front of me and microphones, and I'm doing an interview. You guys see those?
Yeah,
moments.
yeah.
You know, Joe's got to come together, blah, 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 blah. And we do those out there. Now, 9 out of 10 times, hundreds of cars will drive by. Nobody says a word. In Austin, Texas, every fucking car honks when they drive by. They scream and yell, and they try to ruin your scene any way that they possibly can.
sick.
Only in Austin, Texas does that seem to happen. So, you know, my crew would tell you which city's the biggest assholes in the world. They will tell you there. I won't.
I can see that. I can
I'm
see that.
I'm taking a neutral step down the middle of this sidewalk. But the point is, when you go to that city, you can't get a scene outside. It's unbelievable. All other cities you can. Typically, maybe 1 out of 100 cars screams or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
That would have never happened in Dallas, by the way.
Yeah, just Austin.
Just Austin.
Dallas was a great city to
Love
shoot in.
fucking Dallas.
Yeah, me too.
Love Dallas.
Great city.
All right, well, let's go to the flip side. What are the top 5 cities in America with the best bars and restaurants?
Well, I got to start here.
Let's go.
Yes,
Let's
go.
go.
Las Vegas.
When you look at the corner that you're next to, where MGM and there's more alcohol. There's more hotel rooms on that corner than the city of San Diego.
Yeah,
Sure.
First of all, that one intersection, we give away more alcohol than most cities sell.
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
When you
Comps.
consider all the comps
Sure,
and the
sure,
gamers,
sure.
we give away more alcohol in the city than most people sell.
Yeah.
So then you take a look at the nightclubs in this city. You know, I used to run a nightclub and bar convention, and we would do the top 100.
Yep.
Right, and those were the highest grossing. The top 20 and the top 100 were always in Vegas. So
Sure.
when you
Yeah.
look at an excess, $80 million a year.
Absurd.
You know, a marquee, $90 million a year. You look at an Italy, you know, they're going to do $65 million fucking dollars this year out of that one place. This is fantasy land, guys.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen any place else in America. The only place that you could say comes close to this would be Orlando.
Really?
Right, on the Disney property.
Oh, got it,
Because,
got it.
you know, Rainforest Cafe and those, they can do some pretty big numbers in Orlando. But nobody can touch Las Vegas. When you look at the dollars that we do, the amount of seats that we fill, the spend that we create, the amount of alcohol that we sell, we lead the pack. Vegas has the greatest nightclubs in the world.
Yep.
But I'll say something, I don't get myself in trouble here. We don't have the greatest bars in the world.
It's not a bar town.
No,
Yeah, it's
no,
not
it's
a bar
not.
town.
It's not.
But it needs to be.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it needs to be. As we evolve as a city, we need more great bars.
Are you talking about in the local market or on the boulevard?
A little of both.
Okay.
Actually, a little of both.
Okay.
You know, you look at it, a lot of the hotels have great nightclubs in
Sure.
them, but they don't have great bars
Yeah.
in them.
They're
And that
afterthoughts.
meeting environment,
Yeah.
that mix and mingle kind
Sure.
of environment,
Yep.
if you will. So I'd like to see that, but I think the greatest nightclubs in the world are here in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
by
question.
far.
I think some of the greatest bars in the world are probably in New York.
Sure.
You know, employees on, there's a couple of
Yep.
great bars because New York is not a nightclub town.
Yeah.
New York is much more of a bar
Small,
town.
Right.
Yeah, intimate.
Yep. So, you know, I would pick those two. Miami can be a little both, great bar town and a great nightclub town. But Miami has a huge, you know, Latin influence.
Sure. Yep.
So, you know, that's prevalent in most of the music, most of the nightclubs down there. That's part of the personality of that community.
For sure.
When you get to Vegas, you know, we tend to be a little more neutral ethnically.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we sit more in that middle spot, if you will. New York tends to sit in that middle spot. Whereas other cities can be a little more ethnically slanted based upon their population.
Right, yeah.
sure.
But, you know, Vegas is to me the standard. Look at restaurants. I mean, every great chef in America's got one here.
They all want to come here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're going to do twice the volume here or 3 times than they do in their own.
And they never have to be here.
That's right.
Slap your damn name on it, dude.
Yeah.
You never have to show up.
Once
That's
a
right.
year,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's
All
it.
right, so you got Vegas, New York, Miami. I need 2 more.
Austin,
Boston.
Texas.
Boston.
Okay.
Boston is a great bar town. Cheers.
Yeah.
Right, came from Boston, that whole premise. The first bar in America is in Concord, Massachusetts.
Okay, yep.
Right.
It's a bar town. That's a bar crowd for sure, Boston.
Boston for sure.
Yeah, absolutely a bar
Yeah.
crowd. You know, beer drinking,
Yeah,
very New
yeah, that's a
England.
bar crowd.
So I would say Boston as well, and I owe you one more.
Yeah.
Let's say San Francisco.
Oh.
Now, 6 months from now, who knows if that city is going to be there with what's going on up there? But right
Don't
now,
worry, this episode airs this week.
San Francisco's got a very hip culinary scene
do, they
going
do.
up
Yeah.
there for sure.
Okay, that's a good list. Yeah, that's a good list.
solid.
That's a solid list. What is a bar concept you haven't seen that someone should open?
You know, it's funny. We're actually playing with a couple of these ourselves to play with them. One is a robotic concept.
We're just saying.
we were
People
just
have
talking
played
about
with
it.
it.
Okay.
The technology exists now.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's something that we're taking a hard look at. You know, I think that fantasy bars, which would be bars that have LED walls that can put you anywhere.
Right.
Okay, cool.
So I can make a beach bar in the Caribbean. I can put you in the top floor of the Transamerica Tower in San Francisco.
Yep.
You know, environmentally shifting bars. I think we're going to see media brought into bars much more in these next few years.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think walls are going to become much more
Interactive.
temporary, much more interactive. Environments are going to change as the evening progresses and such. You know, something happened years ago that was very, very powerful in our industry when imagery and light came together. Now, you see that at tonight's games on the ice with the lights that they
Great
have.
job. They do a
You know,
great job.
years
So cool.
ago, you had video
Yep.
and you had lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the two were not the same. Well, now video and lights are the same. I can project moving imagery
Yeah.
all over. So, you know, that's a really powerful technological advancement that sports arenas are picking up on, but the hospitality industry hasn't yet. I think that's the next phase. I think they will.
There's a very cool restaurant in Chinatown called Partage. It's a French fine dining restaurant, and they just opened a concept next door with the full immersive 4 walls with videos like you're in France and dining on the beach. It's really, really cool and super immersive.
Yeah.
Really expensive, but it's a very, very nice
Yeah.
concept.
So
Very
I saw a business
That's
plan
tight.
for one where you're in a French Bordeaux, so it has a French wine tasting.
Yeah.
And French cuisine, and the chef is a visiting French chef that night.
Oh.
The next day you come into the restaurant, it's Italy. And you're having fine Italian wines, and there's an Italian chef there who's
That's
been
cool. You can
imported.
theme it out.
Theme it out.
And what you're doing is you're creating it, sure, because people come to certain things and and you know, something like that is really neat. It's not easy to fill something 7 days a week if it's the same every day.
Yeah, you're right.
If you can change it a little
Yeah.
and create differences, it becomes easier to fill it.
For sure.
I like that. Okay. We got some concepts for you people. If you're not listening right now,
Yeah.
We also saw something, Sean Walker, now Walker up there, or with me with my company. We were at a restaurant equipment show a few weeks ago, and I saw something that blows me away. This company takes beer, and they extract all the water out of the beer. So now that big keg of beer is now about this big, about the size of this liquor bottle.
Okay.
They now hook it up into your system. You have filtered beer with just the right carbonation rate and everything, and it reconstructs the beer when you come out of your beer tower in your bar. So the big kegs disappear, the weight, all of that disappears. Going bad disappears, rotating stock disappears, all of that.
That's
Now,
insane.
when I saw
astronaut
it,
beer?
when I saw it, I said to myself, I'm not sure the world is ready for powdered beer yet.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
But I got to tell you, when you drink it, it's fucking beer.
the same?
It tastes exactly the same.
man.
So I think that's going to be a really powerful thing.
It all starts as powder anyway. The crushed barley and hops and malt and everything.
I agree.
If no one knew the difference, no one would ever.
Yeah, you
can't
wouldn't
taste
know.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't taste it. If it's good, it's good.
It's underneath the counter. You don't see the powdered bag.
Yeah, 100%.
They're gonna start doing goddamn Keurig
Do
pods of
you see
beer,
the movie
dude.
The Founder, the McDonald's movie?
Of course.
Where they had the powdered milkshakes, you know, and they try to change it?
He's like, I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
Now we're full
That
circle
was-
again. Wild topic. All right, we need to know. Jon Taffer, what is your stance and what are the rules on tipping?
Aha. Well, my rules on tipping have changed post-pandemic.
All right.
I was always a 20% tipper. Even if I didn't get great service, I tended to leave a good tip. Right? But I would tend to, in attitude, let the server know that maybe I wasn't that thrilled. But my attitude is whether that server gave me a good experience or not doesn't change the fact that they have a kid at home.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Sure.
I've always accepted the responsibility that if I'm going to take up their real estate at their table, I'm going to
Yeah,
tip
the
them.
real estate thing.
It's
gonna
opportunity
tip
cost.
them.
You're tipping for
For
opportunity
sure.
cost.
Exactly.
I'm taking up their space.
Yeah.
I owe it to tip them, unless they're complete jerks,
Right.
you know. But mistakes don't make you not worthy of a tip.
Sure. Yeah.
Attitude might make you not worthy of a tip. If you
Right.
don't give a fuck about me, maybe that's the case. Post-pandemic's a little different. I'll tell you why. We struggled to get our employees back.
Okay.
The employees that did come back were short-staffed. So they were in pressure cookers. They had more tables than they used to, not as many cooks as they used to.
For sure.
So the ones who came back had a really hard time fighting it through because of the ones who didn't come back.
Right.
to me, they're the unsung heroes of my industry right now. The ones that came back. So I'm up to 25% now on everyone all the time. I have great respect for the people who have come back to work. And you know, I hope the ones that haven't come back to work are inspired by my 25% to do so. Because we need people to come back to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer of it. Look, guys, you know, years ago, TIPS, you know what TIPS stands for? To ensure prompt service. That's
Is
what
that
TIPS
true?
Is that real?
Is that a real thing?
Years ago, in the early days of America, when
Is that trademarked?
years ago, in the pioneer days of America, when you went into a restaurant, there was a box in the front of the restaurant, and you dropped a nickel or a dime. Back then, that was all you had to drop it into the box on the way in, and it was to ensure prompt service.
Sure.
So you were treated with a bit of a priority when you dropped it in the box. It then evolved to become an after-the-fact thing. But, you know, let's keep in mind, people that work in restaurants often don't make the same hourly wage that non-tipped employees
For
make.
sure.
So they're relying on those tips. They're not making those tips above a normal wage. Those tips is what makes it a normal wage. So I think we all need to step up for those employees. I'll tell you about what tipping gets me. And these payment companies, I love this one. I go into a Starbucks, and I go to put on my credit card, and it asks me, am I going to give my coffee guy, my barista, what the hell do they call them?
Barista.
Thank you very much. Am I going to give my barista 10%, 15%, 20%, and 25%? Now, the barista is staring me down as I'm holding this thing in my hand.
This is the moment.
It's so awkward.
Answer a
This
few
is the
questions
moment.
for me.
Now, that was amazing, but here was one that got me. I own a bus. And I paid a guy to come detail my bus. So it's $700 to come wash and wax a bus. Okay, that's what it cost. So I'm standing in the driveway. I'm putting it on my credit card. He gives me the thing, and what pops up?
Tip.
You're going to give the guy 10%. So I'm going to tip this guy 20% of $700 to wax my fucking bus? No. But he's staring me down as I'm holding this thing. It's gotten out of hand.
It's gotten out of hand.
It's gotten out of hand, and what's happening is we're going to start to antagonize people with tipping everyone, and then the ones who should be tipped are going to be held accountable for that attitude, and they're going to receive less tips.
You're right.
So I really don't like it, and you know, those people in those other businesses are paid as if they're not tipped.
Sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, the guy's going to paint your house. You're going to give him a credit card, and he's going to put a 20% tip on it. It's getting ridiculous.
You are prompted to tip now in pretty much every scenario
Yes.
that you
100%,
check out in. Almost every scenario.
Yeah.
When's the last time you checked out and you weren't asked to tip? It really doesn't exist anymore.
For sure.
So
Where are we drawing the line, John?
Well, it's antagonizing us to the point that we're going to hold the people who should be tipped for it, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I have a story from about maybe when did your first book come out? Do you remember? Was it 10 years ago? 11 years ago? Okay. So do you remember Tris nightclub?
Of course.
Okay, so I think you
I did a book signing event there.
Well, we're going to get right into that, John.
Okay.
I actually worked at the book signing. I worked at Tris nightclub and XS nightclub. And we had a banquet, so we had to come in early, obviously. Get there early, do the banquet. You were great. At the end of the banquet, by the way, we're getting paid banquet fee, which was great for Win and Encore. We're getting outrageous culinary union pay, which was like $18 an hour. We're also getting tipped on the we already knew what we were making from your banquet, which was great, by the way.
And what people don't realize is if I go in with free liquor, you guys as the union get paid for every glass you pour. It's a corkage fee.
We got paid outrageously.
So even though I'm not paying for the liquor, I'm still paying for you guys to pour it.
Yeah, and at the end of the banquet, though, John, I think there was maybe 13 or 14 of the staff, waitresses, and us. You walked around to every single person, and you busted out a fat wad of hundreds, and you gave all of us a $100 bill at the end. Is that is that accustomed to you? Do you feel pressure now, being famous and in the industry, that you have to tip so well?
You know, it's maybe. You know, I have a boat.
Also,
I'm blessed, guys. I have a boat. I'm on my marina a couple weeks ago. And I tipped the guys, and one of them comes up to me and says, you know, John, you're way too generous with us.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm blessed, guys. I have a few dollars in the bank. These are ways that I share it.
It was great.
Somebody that does right by me, I like to share it. So, you know, it's an attitude.
Yeah.
Of a way to say thank you, but a way to say, you know, I'm lucky, guys. I've been blessed. So spreading it around a little is a good thing.
Especially you, right? When you do go to a place and you're just a patron, right? Like, is it hard for you not to judge it like you're working, or do you just kind
No,
of?
I'm pretty good at turning it off.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what gets me though. Often I'll go to places and then they comp me.
unasked for
Unasked,
right.
they can't me. So then what I'll always do in those cases is I'll figure out what it would have cost. So let's say it's a $200 dinner that they comp me on. So I'll leave the $200 at the table for the tip.
There we go. That's a classic.
I'll always match the dollars and just move it over to the employee.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
was great.
That's the Vegas way to do it as well, because comps here are just like
everywhere. Yeah.
Yep.
The great part too, it leaves an impact. Like this guy remembers that from 10 years ago, right?
I remember,
right.
yeah.
That's really cool.
Because I'd never seen dude, we had hosted tons of celebrities at XS and Tris, and no one's ever done that.
Wow, that makes me feel great.
Well, also not to 13 or 15 of us employees.
Yeah, maybe
You
one.
know?
Just
Yeah,
their
maybe like
their
one or
server.
whatever.
You
But,
guys came through for me.
you busted out a wad. I don't know if you hit the ATM before or hit the tables before, but it was a fucking
Yeah,
wad.
he was feeling
John.
happy.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
was feeling happy. All right, we have a couple rapid fire questions.
It's what
for
I
you.
call a New York wad, all singles with a few hundreds on the end.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Now you know the secret.
John, I saw it. It wasn't ones. It wasn't.
It was
ones.
14 of you.
It wasn't ones.
Yeah. All right. What are the most important foods bars should have on their menus?
Well, statistically, chicken wings, obviously, and
Chicken
hamburgers
wings?
are the two biggest things that you need to
So chicken wings, hamburgers are number one, number two.
And what customers buy.
Sure.
Yeah, those tend to be the highest
Interesting.
things. You know, but today, look, you can do a lot of things today. You can do Asian bars, you can do Italian bars.
Yeah.
You know, you can really play around with it and have some fun. But you know, if you look nationally, it's pretty tough to be a mainstream bar and not have a good burger and chicken wings.
Sure.
Yep.
Is that really? Yeah, I guess those are the two mainstays, right? Wings, wings
You know,
slash
chicken
tenders.
wings. You know, chicken wings in the 50s were thrown away.
Really?
So chicken wings were a piece of the chicken that nobody would buy, nobody would use, and they were thrown away. And some guy in Buffalo, New York, it's a true story, got this idea. You know, I'm throwing these fucking things away. I'm gonna. So he created buffalo sauce, and now chicken wings got, you know, during the pandemic got up to almost $1 a piece.
They were expensive, yeah.
But they were thrown away. They were trash years ago, and now, of course, they're a staple of the industry.
What a genius that guy is, huh? Oh my God.
We might ruffle some feathers. Are you a wing guy or a drum guy?
Oh, I'm a wing guy.
Okay, so flats.
So
flats
flats.
over drums.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
All right, that makes you can't really order. You know, that's.
I'm more of a
100%.
drum guy, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll eat the drums. You can have the flats.
There you go.
Oh, okay. So actually, I do the whole thing. But
Yeah.
Okay, both. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Little
There we
mix.
go.
All right, that's fair. All right, what's the biggest red flag when you walk into a restaurant or bar?
Smell. Smell can be. I'll tell you something else though. Next time you sit at a restaurant, pick up the salt and pepper shaker. See if it's greasy.
Oh, it's disgusting.
They just don't clean well, yeah.
If they don't clean them, a good restaurant cleans them every night.
Sure.
Yep.
So every night they're clean, they're refilled, they're left that way. If it's greasy for 2-3 days, I wouldn't eat there. That one
That's
little
disgusting.
measurement can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of know immediately when you walk into a restaurant if you shouldn't be there or not.
Yeah, because the standards don't exist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just,
Obviously.
you can't be there. By the way, we live in a town where that never ever happens to me. Really, I never walk into a place and leave. I might not like the food, but I never walk into a place and like, this is disgusting. I'm leaving. Maybe I'm just picking. Maybe it's places that I choose particularly.
Yeah, for sure.
Me,
Our
but
taste is a little different.
love to Vegas for that. A little love to Vegas for that. You
Yeah.
know. What was it like doing that Shark Tank spinoff, Big Brain, with Dave Portnoy?
Well, first of all, Dave and I are buddies. We go way back.
Yeah.
So I did Blog Rescue. It's got to be 10 years ago with Dave and Big Cat.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And we did it. It's on their website, Blog Rescue, where I screamed at them for blogging about Bieber.
Okay.
And I'm screaming at them. What is the name of your site? Barstool Sports. Barstool what? Sports. Sports. What the fuck is with Bieber?
Yeah.
Right? So I beat it's on their website. It's hysterical. So that was the first thing I ever did with them 10, 12 years ago. And then Dave and I have kept in touch over the years as we both, you know, sort of both became successful at the same time. Then my pizza review
Oh,
Right? Yeah.
was, he still claims, was the best pizza review they've ever done.
Sure, sure.
And I'm told I'm the only one who's done 2 pizza reviews. I'm pretty close to Barstool, and we've come up a long way. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To that show. So those that don't know, we did a show on Barstool, sort of like a Shark Tank is
Yeah,
kind of a
yep.
show, where entrepreneurs came in and pitched us with ideas, and we would invest in those ideas, and it was fun.
Did you have a win? Did you have an investment that worked?
There was one investment that I looked at with these vapes that were energy vapes. That looked really cool. So what it was ginseng or whatever in a vape. It looked like a tobacco or a cannabis vape, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was energy that you vaped and you felt it right away. It looked pretty cool, but they were a little flaky. It just didn't come
work
together.
out.
Yeah.
That's a
The
cool
idea was
concept,
good,
though.
though. The idea,
Yeah.
if you're a truck driver or something, you just take a puff of your energy thing as
Yeah.
you're driving.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
That must have been a fun show, though, getting to do it and
Oh, it was
getting
fun.
pitched.
Yeah, it's fun to do it with Dave.
I like that.
Yeah.
You and Dave had some times together, I'm assuming?
We've had some fun together over the years.
There you go. All right, last one. Food and alcohol trends that you want to see disappear.
I'm not sure that I'm against any trend.
Okay.
I'm against things that last.
Okay.
That shouldn't.
All right.
But trends are good because it gives a new idea an opportunity to see if it flies or not. But what I say is trend rhymes with the word end because every trend ends typically.
just come in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Some don't. You know, so when I look at the kind of things that I'm not sure I have an answer to that because I'm really pro every new idea you can think of. I must tell you, when somebody came out with peanut butter whiskey, I mean, that to me was incredibly disgusting in premise.
Sure. Yeah.
And then smelling it and tasting it and all. But you know what? It's a great idea, and he's selling it, and it's great. You know, another friend has the banana whiskey. We talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
On surface, banana whiskey, it sounds awful, but it's
Yeah,
delicious and it's sort of fun. And
Sure.
So you know, it's hard to kill any idea that could, in essence,
Right.
in the end, pollinate. You
That's
know,
very
and turn
true.
into something.
I like that. Very positive.
I'll tell you though, the one trend that I do hate is the phone.
We want it. Yeah.
Phones.
Phone.
You see, the great thing about bars is interactivity.
Yeah.
You know, guys, you can go home, program your satellite dish, watch whatever the fuck you want. You can buy whatever cocktails and mixers, drink whatever you want. You can go on DoorDash, Uber Eats, get whatever you want to eat. You don't need me to feed you. You don't need me to give you drinks. And you don't need me to entertain you in video anymore. You know, when we did Sunday Ticket in the beginning, it was just in bars.
Yeah.
You wanted to watch the game, you had to not anymore. You got it at home. So why do you come to me then? If you can eat the same food at home, you can drink something even better at home.
Pick your own
You can
achievement.
watch exactly what you want to watch, listen to exactly what you want to listen. Why would you come to me?
Yeah.
Because of social interaction, because of the human connection. And I think we all learned during the pandemic how much we missed that.
Sure. Sure.
Right when it was taken away from us. So the greatest asset that a bar has is the interconnectivity of people, the social environment that it creates. When people sit there and stare at their phones all fucking day, there's no social environment anymore. The whole point of a bar is to look in each other's eyes,
Sure. Sure.
not our phones.
Yeah.
So I worry about that. And then I look at bars that put kiosks in the front of the house where I'm not even seeing a server anymore. I'm now ordering through a kiosk. I'm sitting on my phone the whole time I'm there. The fact that I'm here is consequential. The environment means nothing to me.
Yeah.
The employees mean nothing to me. The place means nothing to me. We're taking the personality out of the industry. But what makes the industry great is its personality.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You got to find the balance now. Someone's got to figure out how to merge them
Yeah.
both to make sure.
Now, in
they
our
have-
Taffer's Taverns, and we're just a couple weeks away from a big Vegas announcement, guys, we'll let you know when.
I want to know.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
Yeah.
we'll come back and talk about it when we
Yeah,
announce
If
it.
you want to do some breaking news right now, you're more than welcome.
We're close. We're close. We're close, but not yet.
Right.
But you know, in Taffer's Tavern, I have unbelievable technology in the back of the house.
Sure.
Everything is cooked by computer and automated and all of that. But no technology in the front of the house. I want my servers looking in your eyes. I want human connectivity.
Right.
I never want to put technology between me and human connectivity. A lot of other restaurateurs are jumping on the technology.
Yeah.
I just worry that we lose our connection
For sure.
when the human element disappears.
no reason to
true.
come back. You know,
That's
you
right.
might come once, but
That's
you
right.
don't come back.
Look, a great server, a great bartender gets you
Change
back.
the game.
Oh, always.
Oh, my.
Change
Always.
the game.
In my restaurant company, everybody has the same job description. It's 3 words. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a cook, hostess, or anything. 3 words. Get them back. That's what we do. We get
theme.
people back.
We have
That's
this-
perfect.
We have the same theme here at the podcast.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
them back to the
Get
next
them back.
episode. John, thank you for coming, man. We really
This was
appreciate
fun,
it.
guys.
This
I
episode
loved
was
it.
awesome. Thank you. Everybody, drink the booze, watch the show, get the book. John's the man. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to the Vegas restaurant.
Yes.
We love that.
We'll be
Thank you
there.
for giving back to the city, opening another venue. Guys, Residency Podcast. See you next week.